I'm not sure if today's video has a direct lesson. I don't really know if there's one thing that we could take from this, but it's a story that involves one of the most unique paths ever to college and to the NFL. The story involves two brothers, one trainer slash mentor, and is altogether just kind of a bizarre situation. Like I said at the beginning, if nothing else, this story is interesting, but I want y'all to make sure you stick around till the end and let me know in the comments section, what did you personally take from this? Anyway, that's it for the intro, so sit back, chill, and enjoy. Let's get it.
Yeah, you'll never know quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
Alright, real quick, I gotta give a shout out to one of the major sponsors on the channel, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that gives you easy access to live sporting events, concerts, etc. They grade every single ticket on a scale from 1 to 100, which allows you to quickly assess the quality of the deal. To further assess that quality, you can preview the view to make sure that's gonna work for you and whoever you might be taking to the event. If you want to check out SeatGeek, all you gotta do is click the link in the description, download the app, and use my code FlemLo for $20 off your first purchase. Let's get it. So 9th grade, Bryce Brown rushes for 1,472 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's selected first team All-Wichita, an impressive freshman campaign. But the following year, he tops it. In 06, 2,039 yards, 26 touchdowns. Bryce is named EA Sports National Sophomore of the Year. And right there, college coaches started losing their minds. Dude received over 50 college offers. Bryce continued to put up crazy numbers, racking up awards and honors like it was nothing. Not only was he considered to be better than all the top-rated senior running backs while he was only a junior, he was considered to be the best running back coming out of Kansas since Barry Sanders. Bryce and his older brother Arthur were the first pair of brothers to both be 5-star recruits. So after Bryce's junior year, Arthur, who was a year older, committed to the University of Miami. At this time, Bryce and Big Bro were on the same page as Bryce switched to his big brother's old number, which was 11, for his senior season. He wanted to honor his big brother, and he didn't disappoint either. He nearly rushed for 2,000 yards again and was selected to the Army All-American Bowl. He finished his high school career with the Wichita career record of 7,200 rushing yards, and he was awarded the Hall Trophy, which goes to the best high school player in the country. Now here's where it gets interesting. By the way, don't get confused here, there's a lot of B's. Like everybody's name in this starts with a B. First and last name, all B's, alright? But don't get confused, just roll with me. So Bryce Brown, the guy this video is about, was working with a guy named Brian Butler, a minister and former retail manager turned trainer and handler for high school athletes. Now Brian would train kids up physically and help them to navigate entry into the college ranks. As you can imagine, he received quite a bit of backlash for this, and he was accused of farming kids to make a quick buck. Now, right off the bat, if this story was being told by traditional media, it may seem that I've just introduced the villain of this story. But that's for each individual watching this to decide. So right here, I'm gonna give you all the information I could find on Brian, and then we'll continue with the story. So Brian went to Wichita High himself. He was recruited, fell into the party life, lost it all. Worked a few odd jobs, money was scarce, started 2 completely legit businesses, built them up well before getting Bryce and his brother to represent and train. He makes all his guys sit up front in class, puts them in Bible study, and even makes them sign up for extracurricular activities at their schools. But at the same time, he does end up making a profit off of these kids as he charges them for training and sometimes charges universities for information regarding these kids. One other small thing I forgot to mention, he pleaded guilty to a felony charge in 1997. Now FYI, the charge was expunged from his record, but you know how that goes. Anyway, let's continue. So the year was 2008. YouTube was a brand new website comprised of cat videos and societal outcasts. Huddle was just founded a few years earlier, and Mr. Brian Butler was trying to figure out a way to make some extra income based off a kid he was training who happened to be the #1 recruit in the nation and the best running back prospect in recent memory. So Mr. Butler came up with a brilliant plan to showcase Bryce's abilities. Now again, everybody wanted info on this kid, and this was 10 years ago, so that information wasn't necessarily easy to get. So Mr. Butler decided to start a membership-only website where he charged coaches and some diehard fans $10 a month to gain access to a slow trickle of information, updates, and workout clips of Bryce. Now this is the ultimate hustle, alright? And I don't even mean that in a derogatory sense. Mr. Butler had something of value and he charged money for it. There was a book published way back in 1856 based on the sayings of a cat that was way older than that. His name was Publius Cyrus, and I probably butchered his name, but he said, "Everything is worth what a purchaser will pay for it." And that's just facts, bro. That's old facts, like that been fact. Not to mention, the Joker alluded to it in Dark Knight, so you know it's official. In early 2008, Bryce announced that he would follow his brother to the University of Miami, but declined to sign a letter of intent on National Signing Day. He instead used the day to announce his 5 finalists on his list. He was like that recruit on NCAA 14 where you've been leading all year long. You offered him a scholarship, his bar is full, he comes on the visit, has a great time, but he just won't sign, bro. It drives you nuts. And traditional media was hot too. All of this because he opted not to sign on National Signing Day. He just took his time with it. He did make it very inconvenient, true enough, and he definitely drug it out, taking 3 more visits after that. Even still, this is right. Crazy enough, the recruitment of Bryce Butler would go even more left. So Bryce graduated high school a semester early, went on what was called a vacation in Nebraska with his uncle, probably just training or whatever. And from there, Bryce announced that he would have his own signing day, March 16th. Here's the problem with that. The letter of intent from the University of Miami and pretty much all the universities expire in February. They're not forever, you know what I mean? You have to sign them within a certain period. After that, the school would have to issue another letter of intent. But Miami decided to draw the line in the sand, and they did not reissue the offer. They probably didn't want other recruits to think they could just bogart the system, and that makes perfect sense from their standpoint. I totally get that. So they ended up not getting Bryce, missing out on 1 recruit. Not a huge deal. Well, it was a little bit bigger deal than that because, once again, his older brother was going to Miami and did eventually end up transferring, as I'm sure that didn't sit well with him. Bryce got to Tennessee with crazy hype after the roller coaster recruitment process. He was investigated by the NCAA for his pay site, but was cleared to play. Now, Bryce played behind a senior named Montario Hardesty. Dude had been at Tennessee since 2005 and had paid his dues. It was finally his opportunity to be the featured back that he was, and he played well. 1,300 yards, averaged 4.8 a carry, 13 touchdowns. He had a really good senior season. Actually ended up being drafted in the 2nd round, FYI, but let's move on. So Bryce played behind him. He put up a modest 460 yards and 3 touchdowns, which was not bad at all for a backup running back. This, in my opinion, is where Bryce should have stayed put. He clearly would have had the upper hand for the starting job coming in the following year after being a backup this year, playing well, and being a highly touted recruit. But when Lane Kiffin left, Bryce left. I don't know if he left because of Lane, I'm really not sure, but you know, both things happened that year. So I mentioned earlier that Bryce's older brother eventually transferred from Miami as well. Well, in 2010, they both ended up going to Kansas State. Again, remember, they're from Kansas, so he went back home. Now, Bryce's older brother ended up having some really good seasons with K-State. 1 year putting up 95 tackles and getting a memorable pick versus Robert Griffin and the Baylor Bears. Bryce, on the other hand, ended up playing in 2 games. He had a total of 3 carries, and a lot of this was thought to be due to the fact that Bryce was missing some team activities and just really didn't seem committed to the K-State football program. Because of that, he left school early and decided to enter the damn draft. This cat played a grand total of 14 games, put up less than 500 yards, and never started a college game. Yet, he entered the 2012 draft. It's like, no way this cat is an NFL running back. He never even started in college. Well, at his pro day, the 6 feet tall, 223-pound Bryce ran a 4.38. Had he stayed at Tennessee or played one decent season at K-State, he would have likely been a first rounder, but instead, he was drafted in the 7th round, missing out on all kinds of bread. He was drafted by the Eagles, and with LeSean McCoy, who at the time was a prime member on FlemLo's fantasy football team, went down with another injury, LeSean. Okay, I and plenty other desperate fantasy owners picked up Bryce Brown out of the free agency pool. A guy who was about to make his first start at running back since high school, bro. I knew I was taking an L that week. Then
They have the backup quarterback and running back, but Bryce Brown is putting on showtime.
So he finished with 178 yards and 2 touchdowns, setting the Eagles' rookie rushing record. Unfortunately, he fumbled twice in that game, with the last fumble costing the Eagles the game. He then doubled back the next week with 169 yards, but fumbled again. After that game, his role was drastically reduced as the starters began to come back into the fold. And I guess the Eagles did not see Bryce as somebody that they could rely on. He eventually ended up getting traded. He bounced around to a couple of different teams, and unfortunately, he hasn't played in the game since 2015. Bryce was obviously an unbelievably talented cat, bro. I mean, with almost no experience in college, he walked into the league and put his skills on display. I think his lack of polish and what looks like from the outside looking in, a lack of commitment, did not allow him to ever reach his full potential. But one thing he can always say, he did it his way, like it or not.
Yeah, I'm no quitter, 'cause I'ma go